Hi guys, welcome back to another theory video. I literally just uploaded the Super M video. I uploaded that on the 21st and today is the 22nd. So it's been a lot, and Monsta X came out with their video called Find You, and I really needed to make a video on this because everyone is losing their minds on what is going on. So there's a couple things that are pretty obvious, like the whole story about it is obvious as to what's happening. So if you haven't watched the music video yet, go do that, or else you will not understand what's going on in this, because I'm not going to be explaining the plot of the music video. I'm going to be explaining how everything is connecting to itself and explaining what these weird scenes of the members that we've seen before are doing in this music video. So please go check that out. Thanks for clicking on the video, and I hope you enjoy and keep watching. Alright, let's get started. When Find You came out, my first reaction was to look at the comment section to see what people were thinking. Even when the teaser first came out, a lot of theories were showing up on my Instagram feed of what is actually happening. So I want to talk about those first. I'm going to show you guys some theories that people have been putting out. I think that a couple of them are really cool and would definitely work with this, so I wanted to share them with you. I give these people all credit for making these, so I don't want to be taking anyone's work, so I'm going to tell you where it came from and their username and all that. So D_MZ posted on YouTube. Their theory is that Hyungwon's father created the watch, and Hyungwon didn't know about it, but when his parents died, he decided to use it. But since he didn't know that much about it, he got messed up and got lost and stuck in time. They said Destroyer's probably what comes next, where they try and find Hyungwon back, and the train and water is like portals, but for different times. They reach the portal but fail to bring him back. More time passes in between, and in the future, probably another lifetime, in Dramarama, they have forgotten about Hyungwon, but time travel has already become a thing, but it's illegal. Hyungwon continues to try and make them remember, but all the watches are taken away from them. Building off of that one, there's some people that I saw on Instagram. It was a translated tweet to Instagram, and the tweet was by @HelloWano_, and they said, if you all thought Kihyun stopped running because he thought a suspicious man was casually walking, you're wrong. It's because he finally found his friend. So they're implying that when Hyungwon went back in time and got lost in time in Find You, he was stuck there for a while, but he finally got out in the future when Dramarama takes place. And all the members have been looking for him because at this point, that they're all friends. They all have some connection to each other. Some members in the future and some in the past. So a couple of the members got stuck in the past, and they're trying to either save them or bring them back or fight them. I don't know, whatever Wano and Shono were doing, But instead, the person said that the reason why Hyungwon was there is because he was trying to have them save each other, but every time they got handed the watch, they didn't know who was giving them the watch. So there's this screenshot that @Kiani with 4 E's on Twitter said, you mean to tell me that this moment right here is because Kihyun recognized Hyungwon? Which actually makes a lot of sense, because he saw Hyungwon, who was the friend that they'd all been looking for this whole time, right in front of him. He was confused. He wasn't like, oh, this is some guy that I don't know, but he makes watches, so let's get him to go back. But there's no way that Kihyun would have even known that Hyungwon was the one who made the watch. When he handed him the watch in Dramarama, he walked away, and Kihyun just saw the back of his head. So maybe that's how Kihyun recognized him, and they're not actually friends in this timeline, or he did recognize him as Hyungwon. There's another screenshot that they also posted, and it says, and this right here is because Minhyuk thought he saw Hyungwon. So yeah, that could be a way which kind of contradicts the last theory, where they thought it was a different timeline, a different portal, and they didn't know who Hyungwon was, and he was just trying to get them all back together. Which he definitely was trying to get them all back together, except they probably did recognize Hyungwon. The most confusing part about all of this is which came first. So date-wise, Dramarama came out in 2017, and the Connect came out in 2018. So if we go off of that, it would mean that Dramarama came first and they were separated that way, and then the Connect came. But at the end of Dramarama, we don't see how they get back together. So if the Connect came second, how would they all be in the same time? If you think that the Connect came first, it means that they were all in the same time after the events of Find You, and when they jumped on the train and found Hyungwon, something went wrong and they got split up, and that's what led to Dramarama. Also, in Find You, it shows when the first time travel ever happened with Hyungwon. When Hyungwon disappeared, it showed all the members what happened after them, and we don't see how they got led into Dramarama. The Connect VCR adds to this more because it shows Dramarama and the Connect switching back and forth, so you don't really know which came first. It starts off with all of them on the train in the outfits for the Connect, and then shows scenes from Dramarama, but it also shows Kian working on a board with pictures of him and Juhan, and Minhyuk looking at the pictures of him and Changhyun, and Changhyun looking at the pictures of Minhyuk. Same with Juhan looking at the pictures of Kian. Somehow they were all sent to completely different times, except for Minhyuk and Shonu, and the others like Wano, Kian, and Minhyuk are trying to go back in time to save Changhyun, Juhan, and Shonu. So there's 3 different times that they're all trying to go back to so that they can bring each other together. But as we saw in Dramarama, it went wrong and they weren't able to get each other back. So Hyungwon again reversed time, fell back into the pool of water, and somehow got them all to meet up at the end of the Connect VCR. So this could mean that Dramarama did happen first, and Connect is them actually trying to figure out how to get back to the other members instead of getting on the train where Hyungwon is. I think maybe in Follow we'll be able to see how they got split up in time. The teaser came out recently, and we see Hyungwon standing with a blue circle behind him. This is a lot like how they brought Kian back from Shine Forever after the car crash. They put the blue lights around him in a circle, and he either got his sight back or came back to life. People think either he died or just lost his sight. It wasn't really depicted clearly where people all agree on one or the other. So personally, I think that they probably brought him back to life, and that's what they're gonna do to Hyungwon to get him back. So maybe once they do that, that's when time split them all up. Another possibility is that Hyungwon thought he was in the right dimension and he somehow was the cause of all the members splitting in time, but he was actually in the wrong dimension helping out members from a different timeline. And in that case, we won't see this in Follow. As some of you may know, I made a theory video back in April with someone on Twitter. I asked about working with her again, but she said she's going to be making her own theory video. With that being said, the only thing I'm going to mention about her theory that she came up with is that there are 2 dimensions, and the reason why Hyungwon can see the other side is because he drowned himself in All-In. Everything else is going to be things I theorized and came up with personally. Now I'm going to get into something that's completely different from that whole time manipulation thing, and it has to do with All-In, Fighter, Shootout, and Alligator. So as I mentioned earlier, starting with All-In, when Hyungwon drowned himself, that's the reason as to why Hyungwon can see, when all he did was put his face in the water, he can see that timeline. Weirdly enough, a lot of the stuff that happens there happens in the Find You music video. There was the car crash, and Hyungwon was in a very critical state, and then he went to the hospital and he got better, which could be a parallel to All-In, when after he drowned himself, Minhyuk gave him the serum, which made him come back to life. When all the members fall asleep, that's when Hyungwon finds the watch, and then that leads into what I mentioned earlier about drama and the connect. So skipping past that, once the members wake up, Kihyun and Juhan find Hyungwon's meds, which is a parallel to Monsta X's shootout when Hyungwon drops the drugs. All the members kind of get lost and they don't really know what to do except for wait. And they start leading into the 7 deadly sins. Shonu becomes wrath and gets in fights and runs from the police and lights things on fire, just like he did in the apocalyptic universe, but in this one it's more modern and real. Now I'm gonna get into the We Are Here VCR.
세상에 있는 모든 것들이 다 존재할 이유나 가치가 있지는 않아요. 오히려 그 반대로 세상에서 없어져 버려야 할 것도 있단 말이죠. 그게 제 분노의 대상이에요.
Then Minhyuk is shown in agony because he lost someone that he loves, which is the same as All-In and Alligator when he had the roses, because in Find You he has the roses as well.
사랑하는 사람을 이룬 순간에 고통스럽지만 상황을 부정하는 그래도 서서히 알게 되는 거예요. 아, 이게 사실이구나. 세상이라는 게 받아들여야 고통 끝에부터 지독한 감옥에 갇히게 돼. 다시 돌아올 수 있을 거라 믿고 기다려요.
And then you also see Wano not wanting to fight, so he becomes lazy.
진다는 것은 그 한 사람뿐만 아니라 세상 모두에게도 지는 거예요. 야유, 비난, 모욕, 그런 것들이 전부 나를 향해 쏟아져요. 내 편은 없어요. 그렇게 점점 천천히 나태해져 가다가 결국 그 안에 갇히게 돼요.
And Changhyun sitting in a dark room on his phone, which goes back to a scene in Fighter when he played the video games alone in a dark room, and in Alligator when he was sitting in the same way, but he was still alone.
저는 타로 카드로 사람들의 운명을 보잖아요. 믿지 않습니다. 가질 수 있는 게 정해져 있다면 그건 공평하지 않으니까. 사람들은 왜 자식이를 가지고 싶은 걸 가지고 있으면 행복하지 않을까요? 그리고 왜 다른 사람을 불행하게.
Then it shows Juhan laying on a desk with colored pencils and drawings around him. This is also shown in the We Are Here VCR, but in Alligator, he was sitting on a table with items as well.
힘들다는 걸 멈출 수가 없었어요. 그래서 어떤 것이라도 매달리고 싶었어요. 뭔가 집중하게 되면 그 밖의 것들을 잊을 수가 있어서 좋았어요. 그러다 보면 언젠가는 모든 게 끝나지 않을까 생각해요.
And then we see Kian depriving himself of other people and comfort, so he plays the piano and he's lonely.
그 피아노가 연주되는 걸 한 번도 본 적이 없어요. 텅 빈 공간에서 아무런 소리도 내지 못하고 있는 그 피아노가 어쩌면 나와 같지는 않을까 생각했어요. 어렸을 때부터 저는 늘 혼자라고 느꼈고
Changhyun and Hyungwon are in a separate place with each other, which goes along with Alligator, but it's kind of confusing on how it works in this more modern setting. So I'm not gonna go too far into that because I think it's just what it's supposed to be. It's just what we're seeing is they're having their own conversation. That's how it shows pride and envy.
내가 만든 상황 속에 갇힌 거예요. 채우려고 할수록 더 커지고 어느 순간 내 자신마저 삼켜버리는 것 같았어요.
From here, the members learn about their sin and they change their way of living and how they're looking at this negative situation, and they get over their sins.
그게 저한테 어울린다고 생각했어요. 내 모든 이야기를 누군 넘겨주려고 생각하진 않지만 다시 돌아올 수 있을 거라 믿고 기다려요. 내가 시기한 것 같고 내가 분노하고 있다. 다른 누군가가 나를 향해 겨루고 있다는 것을 깨달았다. 나는 나 혼자만이 아니야. 그 사실에 영향을 있었던 것 같아. 나는 나를 저지른 죄악에 대한 벌을 내가 스스로 이런 것 나를 이해해줄 사람이 아무도 없다고 생각하고 나의 상처를 달래줄 테다.
And in the end of the VCR, it shows the members and how they looked in Alligator looking up at the screens, and it shows the people who are watching the screen is themselves, the more modern kind.
나를 감옥에 가둔 것은 다른 누군가가 아니라 바로 나 자신이다.
The ending of the VCR ends just like Beautiful, with Juhan standing in the middle and leading the members out, which is kind of confusing because Beautiful happened a while ago in the last timeline, but it'll still work if it matches here since they're in an infinite loop, which I'll get to in a second. But you can even see the colors in the members' doors that were like the ones in Beautiful when they all walked out. Like I mentioned about the parallels between the dimensions, the VCR for Beautiful is the parallel to All In. I'll show some of the scenes that go together just so you know what I mean. Here's a part I found kind of interesting in it. Kian is shown handing Changhyun a cat's cradle. A cat's cradle represents the exploration of truth and lies. Some characters lie to themselves for happiness, like a child pretending to see a cat and a cradle because they enjoy the game. Another thing to mention is that the string is a loop around their fingers. But Kian also asks, "What's for third period?" And Changhyun goes, "Mathematics," which is what Kian becomes obsessed with, causing his gluttony. Another thing in the beautiful VCR, it shows the members' sins. Wano was sleeping in class when Shonu woke him up. Kian was the only one running alone, and he took the guitar with him, and music is what he turned to when he was lonely. Also the fact that he asked Changhyun what the class was, and he said mathematics, which is what I mentioned earlier. When Minhyuk approaches Hyungwon, who's reading his book, Hyungwon asks Minhyuk for his phone so he can see if his reflection looks good, and Minhyuk says, "You always do," which shows his lust. These next ones are a bit of a stretch, but I just thought to mention them anyways. When the members are getting ready to go into the abandoned building, Shonu is the first one that lights a fire, which could show his wrath. And when Kian hands Changhyun the cat's cradle, Changhyun could be envious that Kian was able to do it, but not him. In Shine Forever, we also see their sins. As Wano runs away from his problems, he's also shown sleeping or laying down on the ground. Kian is left alone most of the time through this music video. Either he's in this mountain area and he's just by himself, or the members walk away from him. Minhyuk is in agony after what had happened to his friend and him knowing that it was his fault. And then pretty much what leads to Shonu's is the whole story of Shine Forever. So as some of you may know, Minhyuk causes a car crash which injures Kian or kills Kian, one or the other. Either way, he can't see. And Wano finds out and tells Juhan, and Juhan goes to fight Minhyuk. And Shonu asks what's going on. Shonu fights out and out of rage and wrath punches Minhyuk. But I think the reason why they're different is because at the end they actually work with each other and they become closer. They get a closer bond, unlike in the other dimension. But another thing I also realized is in my last theory video for Alligator, you'd have to go back to watch this part, but pretty much I explain how either Juhan or Shonu have killed Kian, and there's a scene where you see Shonu stepping on a pair of glasses, like the glasses that Kian had when he was in his prison. So this could also be a parallel since he pretty much loses his sight in both. Color blue has been very important to Monsta X's lore. Like I mentioned earlier, in the teaser Follow You, it shows Hyungwon standing in front of a blue circle or eclipse, which is what was also shown in Shine Forever when they brought Kian back. But also, in the other dimension, they used the blue serum to bring Hyungwon back to life. So this color has been used in every timeline surrounding Hyungwon. Even in Shine Forever, he was the one who found the blue lights. He knew it would restore Kian. Now on to Follow. In Follow, we see a lot of eclipses and celestial bodies exploding. What this means and stands for is that a big adventure or something great has come to an end. This war and journey coming to an end would be them getting out of this weird purgatory that they're in, or ending the cycle, which I'll get more into later. Eclipses are a celestial body obscuring the light from one to another, so it could be passing through. The spiritual meaning, eclipses are essentially like doors or gateways that support us into a higher dimension of being. We can really see this when Shonu is leading the members up the staircase and there's an eclipse at the top. So this whole time, the members have been in Purgatory. And in Purgatory, you're told that you have to go through a whole bunch of trials, climb mountains to finally get to a heaven or out of Purgatory. So I think through everything that we've seen, they're actually going to get out this time, but there's still more that we need to see from them in order to really know where this is going. But another thing is, Wrath is the leader of the 7 deadly sins, who is represented by Shonu. So he is leading them out. And we also saw that in Fighter when Juhan crowned Shonu. And we've also seen them try and time out the eclipses in Living It Up. And even in the Living It Up music video, it shows Hyungwon in the bathtub covered with flowers, which could be one of two things. One, it could be showing us that it's in that universe, that he's like, we're in the all-in universe, so it's just showing like, oh, here's the connection. Another thing is that he is pride, so he's bathing in flowers, and that signifies vanity and implies status. Hyungwon is shown messing with the frequency on a TV, and it controls an eclipse, so we can guess from this that he's controlling the eclipses in Follow, or at least the one that was behind him. The color changing throughout the music video could mean that they are ready to start a new cycle for themselves. When they finally leave Purgatory, they could be trying to become the 7 heavenly virtues. The normal dimension could have opened the gates for them by accident, or the normal versions are the heavenly virtues since they get rid of their sins. But yeah, either way, they might have opened it up by accident. Water is an indication of time, which is what we see throughout Hyungwon time manipulation. The fact that the water came back and dripped down could be showing that things are falling apart, and this could be an opening for these sins to escape. The sundial is to show the loop they've been stuck in. The members are shown standing on a sundial to tell the time, and we've seen this kind of formation throughout a lot of Monsta X's music video. In Shine Forever, Kihyun was in the center. In Hero, Juhan. And on their Connect logos, it's always been Hyungwon's name in the center. And now I think in this music video, it's Minhyuk, so I'm not very sure what it could mean by having a specific person be in the center, but it is always how they're standing. And we also see when Hyungwon goes into the hospital in Find You, there's 7 lights that are in the same way. On a sundial, the hardest time to tell is midday. We see Changkyun eating a blue apple, or referred to as midday blue apples. The shadow vanishes at midday. The apple represents a cross between human and supernatural forces. The snake gave Eve an apple, which was the first sin. Another thing that could be is the 7 deadly sins version of them thinks that the other versions got them stuck in this dimension, and they're probably blaming them for it. And maybe because how much time was manipulated in the modern timeline, it messed with that dimension, causing them to be in a loop. Thank you so much for watching this theory video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you give it a like if you did, because that will really let me know if I should continue to make more of these. This is my second one where I've used my voice in it, and I'm actually thinking I like it better than writing out all the text, but please let me know in the comments if you like having my voice say it instead of weird music, weird ominous music with text going over it. But anyways, this video took a really long time to make. Like I said in the beginning, I started it in October, late October, and now it's mid-November. It's been a lot, as a lot of you know, since Wano was announced to be leaving Monsta X. I just had a lot going on after that, and it just really, I lost my motivation for a lot of things, but I really wanted to continue this video and finish it for you guys and for them. So, I'm really hoping for the best in this whole situation. It really, really sucks what's going on, and it should not have happened to someone that is so loving, and he didn't deserve to have this done to him. But hopefully once everything gets settled, he can come back. I'm probably going to be making another video about everything that the fans have been doing, because literally everyone is so amazing. All of the stuff that Monbebes are doing is just blowing my mind, and I'm so happy to be a part of this and this just fandom. Like, everybody's so amazing in trying to help out the situation, and with even other people's fan groups trying to help. It's just so great, and we really need to show this side of the community. Anyways, if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much. If you did, I guess let me know who your bias is in the comments, and then I'll really know if you guys stayed. I hope you stay tuned for more Monsta X or NCT or Super M theory or funny videos, whatever I put up, even though it's super random. But I hope you stay and subscribe, or just keep up with me, because it means a lot. Alright, bye guys.